All right. So I've collected a lot of reference now, just looking up desert and looking up rocky desert and looking up some storm stuff. And I've put it all into this one folder on the desktop, my landscape reference. My exemplar is not in there. So what I'm going to do now is open this up, and then I want to say View, Arrange by Name, just so everything shows up in almost a random order based on the name of the file. Then I want to click on this little gear wheel for settings and say Show View Options, and I want to fit everything I found onto the screen as large as possible, but just so I can see it all at one time. And if you have multiples like I have here, I copied the same reference twice. It will show up because we've organized them by file name. Okay, now this is my design board. This shows me some of the locations and the shapes I have to work with. And it will show you what you have a lot of and what you need more of. What's lacking, what's interesting, what you can start building from. But this is enough for me to start sketching. So this is why it's easier to do it in your sketchbook than what I'm going to show you. Because I want you to first take your horizontal sketch. And the reason we start with horizontal is because it's more typically what we think of with landscape. And I just need to make it so I can see everything and sketch at the same time. All right, so like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to identify, like I have similar things, different monuments, but I see this one right here and this one right here. That's kind of the sky I'm looking for, this really moody, silhouetted sky with maybe this sun. So I'm going to start with this background, and I'm going to take a clue from that Ridley Scott frame I showed you, or that Blade Runner 2 concept art, and I'm going to do a slightly tilted horizon to make it feel like we're looking at this from like climbing and we're a little off kilter. And I like that that's here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I like this sun. I'm going to put that sun right here. And you don't need to be able to draw very well. I can simply just make it a piece. And I'm going to say, well, this is my sun piece. And it's that one right there. And you're the one that has to understand it. And that gives me a little sliver of sky. When it opens up, I want to go into this frame, kind of in the middle, or parts of it, which show the open sky, and I'll call it that. And just so I don't forget it, I can go to the folder, and I can mark it with a color. These are the ones I'm most excited about using. These become kind of my keyframes. And then I love the deep background here. So maybe I'll overlap those in there. Because remember, this isn't regular collage. We can blend things together. We can change the scale. So I'll have another piece here, which I'll call them tombstones. They kind of look like silhouetted tombstones. All right, this is my background layer, going deep into the background. I have something there I can't see very well. If I make it bigger, yeah, I'm not going to use that. That looks like Colorado or something. Okay, now I have a compositional problem. I have beautiful texture and atmosphere, but I don't have any foreground or middle ground. So now I need to start thinking about what overlaps with this. Well, I really like the idea of these bloody rocks, right? That's a really bold, strong shape. Kind of at a weird angle with these strong shadows. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to call that Bloody Rock. It's not what I immediately think of when I think of desert, but I liked the reference. And even though it was taken on a seashore, you know, I can use these elements, make them look huge, make them exist in my desert. And then building from that, I need things to come from the other side. I want arches going into big formations. So this is called the double arch. But I want to augment them so they look different enough. So I want to put that together with Elephant Arch from Arches National Park. And you'll see very quickly how it's not difficult to use more than 5, but you need to use at least 5 in putting together your idea. Now the reason I'm going to combine double arch with Elephant Arch is so it's not something that's easily recognizable for people that have been to Arches National Park. All right, and then here we have some ground that would be really useful. I'll call that bedrock. And that's going to help transition these arches into my middle ground. And I'm just playing around, trying different ideas. If I want cave dwellings in there, I'll have to figure that out later. I'll have other kind of things I can fit in. A lot of this could be supplemental material, but this is going to get most of the work done for me. All right, so that's my sketch. Let's see, which double arch do I want to use? I think this one with this one. That lighting seems to... Actually, I like more of that mountain, so I'm going to use these two. So we're being selective about our reference. And this is just the beginning. I love that. I can use that little spear here to transition, a little outcropping here. I'll call that spear rock. And that way I'm almost making this path into the distance. Something in the foreground, the middle ground, the background. Inspired by my exemplar. So how many references is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's a good start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good, got them all. All right. Now, I do the same thing, but I compose it on the vertical. And it will make me think very differently, and it will make me look at my reference very differently. Because now I'm trying to compose within an entirely different format. So you don't need to use the same things you use there. You can try, but generally you want to find your own new solutions within this format. So I really like this V-shaped skyline. So if I put that like there, I'll call that V-sky. I'm going to mark that with a different color because this is going in another composition. And then I can build around that with some of these more vertical formations. I love this thing. What will I call it? Maybe the towers. So maybe that goes here. And the way this is different than traditional collage is we get to play with the scale of things, right? So even if this photo is smaller than this photo, as long as my resolution is 8 megapixels or larger, I can make it this large and still have it all work. And maybe I want to use this stormy sky. Because there's less sky showing, so I want it to be more dramatic. These really dark clouds. So I'll call that storm. And it feels like we're going through a ravine, so maybe I want to use that picture to kind of set the scale of this ravine. Give me my foreground. So all of this. You just have to draw it enough so you can recognize it. And now there's a lot of empty space there, but that's one, two, three, four pieces. So I need one more. What can help tie it together? What will fill in this middle ground? This one looks good. You know, all that ground moving up into a pretty empty sky that can be replaced. So let me use that one. And maybe this too for the same reason. So I'm just going to call those fillers. All right. So now I have my sketch. At the beginning of next class, we take all of our reference and we're going to put it on top of our sketch. So we'll scan this in, we'll use it as our template, and we'll decide which one we're more excited about, and then we'll start mapping our photos onto it. Now, this all looks like a desert. It doesn't look particularly ancient yet. It doesn't look, well, it looks a little stormy and at dusk. But I might also decide that I need more elements here to really make it fantasy. Like maybe I want a planet right here. And so you might use your sketch to decide you need more reference too. So let me see if I can find a really cool planet. And then I'll add that in. And the great thing about using NASA images, like from the Hubble Space Telescope, is they're all public domain because they're paid for with tax money. So there's a lot of great things we can use here. Like maybe a close sun. All right, but that will do it for next time. So you come to class with your sketches and with a collection of reference that we can start moving in. And we can always add more reference.